Good morning. Welcome to the FarhamPanthers.com Coaches Show. I'm delighted this morning to have Jessica Flanagan, our head volleyball coach, with us. And Jessica, you got back late last night after traveling to Greensboro, and your team had a really good performance against a good team. Tell us about the game a little bit.
We did. We actually, I think we went into the game still asleep on the bus.
Right.
We got beat. We were down 2-0.
Yes.
And in volleyball, and especially with having such a young team, to come back and win a third set is really big. And we got
Right.
beat the second set, I think it was 25-10. It was
Right.
bad.
Right.
And we came back, made some changes in the lineup, and actually had a freshman go in there who hasn't really played a lot, and she was playing all the way around, which was Alicia White, number
Right.
15.
Right.
And she did outstanding. We came back, took that set, and took the fourth set, and then we went into the fifth set, and we had them 9-3. And then at 8 points, you switch sides of the court. Yeah. And I think for us, and just being young, and sometimes we just don't have that killer instinct. I mean, at one time, the whole game there were 5 freshmen on the court, which is good, and then in some ways, at the time, it's not so good. But if you're looking for future, it's really good. And then we got into a rotation that we just couldn't seem to get out of. We made 3 errors back to back, and it just, next thing I knew, it was 7-9.
Yeah.
But overall, for us in the season, that's the first time we went to 5, and they just played to be able to come back and do that. Like, we always talk about being mentally tough, and we haven't had that all season. And I think right here at the end of the season, they're starting to get it and starting to develop that. And for rebuilding a program, like, that's very exciting.
Yeah. For a young team, you're looking for anything to hang your hat on. And we had a nice weekend this past weekend.
We did, yeah.
We got a big win. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we went into we played Huntington, and not knowing much about them,
Right.
I think helped us, because
Yes.
I think sometimes the girls do go off past, like, what'd y'all do against this team, or and they went into it just kind of blindsided, and we didn't really talk about stats much before the game, which we will sometimes, and we just, Coach Duffy and I have talked about where for us right now that doesn't do us, and instead of giving them a heads up and them looking at, oh, this number 4, she hits cross court a lot, or is their main attacker, they don't look at it like that. They kind of start, I don't know, they overanalyze. So we didn't talk about it, and I think being senior day, Rachel Stratton came out and Kelly both.
Just, it was your
yeah,
senior
we did
day.
that because both families are from quite a bit of distance away, so it worked out better for us to do it on a weekend.
Yeah.
And I think having their families here, they were pumped up, and because there was nobody.
It was fall break,
so the gym was completely empty.
Yeah.
So to play that well, because everybody builds off of a crowd.
Yes, they do.
And but it was just a good day. Somebody, I was upset because we didn't get LaGrange, because I know we could have. But Rachel Stratton's dad said, you should go out of today excited, Coach, because you're leaving the day with 4. You're winning 4 sets and only losing 3.
Yeah.
And that was big for us.
Yeah.
Like, that's big for Farham volleyball in the past years, because you're going out of a day with more win, like more. If you go by sets, you're winning more than you're losing, and like, that's such a positive.
Yeah.
And it's hard because some people that don't know much about volleyball wouldn't see that, as a positive, but it is, and it's getting so much better here at the end of the season, and which kind of stinks. You don't want it to be over when it's like they're starting to get into it. So
yeah, because you finish up November 2nd.
Yeah, and it's just really hard because we come in for 2 weeks, and it's just it's rolling. Like, and those girls never played with each other, and in 2 weeks you've got to know how to play.
Yep.
It just takes a while, and when you have freshmen who are playing against a team like Averitt, who have 5 seniors on the court who have played together for 4 years, that's so different.
Yeah. In my opinion, of all the sports, volleyball is probably the greatest team sport, and the most, the sport where you need teamwork.
Yes. Yeah, we always talk about every point, every play of the game, and like bettering the ball, like, because we're struggling right now with serve receive, and that's the most important thing off of a serve from the other team, because if you can't get a pass up, our setter can't get a good set. So it all depends on what the other person is doing. So it's so much teamwork, and right now we lack a little bit of communication sometimes, and that just goes with having different people out on the court at different times, and who's going to step up, and but it's also individually how you're performing. So it's kind of it's a different.
And then the other rude awakening is something I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Is college athletics is much different than high school. You know, you have, in terms of dedication, in terms of time, you know, college is a whole new world for a lot of these new students, these freshmen, and they have a lot of studying to do. The academics is much tougher. They have to study at least 2 hours per every hour they have in class at least, and that's just to get by. So there's a lot of study time, there's a lot of practice time. You really have to be devoted and dedicated as an athlete in college.
Yes, and that's something, like, as a coach, that I like to stress. And you know, it's been difficult for some of my freshmen this year transitioning into that. But we do study hall on Monday nights, and sometimes I think they talk a little bit more than they study. But overall, like, my girls are doing pretty well, and I'm proud of them with midterms. So especially the freshmen who have coming into the different environment. But it takes a lot, and I don't think people realize that, how they're coming in and practices are probably a lot different than what their high school was like, especially coming in preseason. And then we're starting to play the weekend that they are starting classes, and it's just, some of the other students don't have that on their plate, you know, and not that they, you know, doing more or doing any better than another student, but they just have a lot on their plate.
Yeah, with the practice time and the study halls and managing their time, they don't have time to relax much.
And
they're on the go.
Taking advantage of when they have an hour in between class instead of waiting until night to do their homework.
A couple hours on the bus. Getting home at 1 o'clock, getting home at 2 o'clock after a midweek, you know, travel.
Well, that's sometimes I think about me, like, I got home at around 1, and you're like, man, I got to get into work early, but they have the same thing, and they have to get up, and I expect it out of them. So, you know, I have to do that as a coach too. I expect them to go to class when we get home at 1 o'clock. They can't just, it's not an excuse to miss. So.
And Division III, especially in our conference, we have these long bus trips for some of us. And, you know, in Division I, they're flying to these places, you know, and they're, you know, so it is a real time commitment, and
luckily,
you know, I take my hats off to our young women and young men for all the dedication, because it's not easy. You were an athlete, and you know, I wanted to mention that one of our most prestigious awards at Ferrum is the President's Award, and it's an award that goes to the athlete who has the not only great academics, but is a leader and a really good athlete, a good player. And this is all the athletes on our campus, which is about 500, I think, 500 athletes. And so we give out this President's Award. And a couple of years ago, you won that President's Award. What did that mean to you, Jess?
It was a big deal. I guess going into it, I didn't really think anything of it. I just, you know, and then when I was awarded, though, I mean, it was just a great feeling to have. And like, you know, you were saying today, talking about it, and it's just sometimes, I mean, that's something I'll never forget. Like, it's just a big accomplishment, and I guess something to be proud of.
Yeah, you open up the football program, and it has all the President's Award winners in there from past years, and it is a big deal, and it's something, and that's one of the reasons you were chosen as our coach. Not only were you a great athlete and a team leader, but you were good in the classroom and did a lot of things for the institution. And with all the time commitment as an athlete, that's pretty cool. Talk about your recruiting. You know, you're playing these games, and then on your off day, when you're not playing and you're not practicing, you're recruiting. You're on the road, going to tournaments, high schools.
Yeah, it's a process, because it's very hard, difficult, especially coming in and taking over a program where that you weren't really left with a class. Right now, we don't have any sophomores. We don't have any sophomores, and so it's not like I have a year in advance of players. Which at Division III, typically a lot of times you don't. You go year to year, and it's tough because trying to figure out who to get out there and see right now, but. We'll start, for us recruiting, travel volleyball is in the wintertime, and we go to some high school matches now. We try to we've been going to North Carolina a lot, places that aren't so far away, because we practice, and I'm having to cut practice short, so I don't want to take away from the girls that I have now, but you also have to build for your future. And so then I'll leave early from practice, try to get there, and we go from about an hour to 2 hours, you know, somewhere during the week. once or twice a week or every 2 weeks. It's really difficult in our season, and
Right,
sometimes
yeah.
you find it hard as a coach. I mean, you're tired, but you've got to get out there and you've got to do it. But come December, there's a lot of showcases that start, and
Yeah.
that's where from December to about May,
Right.
there's a ton of tournaments, and which is really good. Roanoke is very big for volleyball,
Sure.
and a lot of teams come there to play. So it's good to be that
Yeah.
close to a
And
growing area.
I would think a
volleyball.
lot of, in recruiting, I'm pretty sure that a lot of it is connections with coaches.
Yes.
Knowing coaches, knowing people, and you being a young coach, you don't have as many of those, but you have to
Right.
build those as well.
Well, and that's like this past summer I did several camps
Yes.
with different Tom Hauser out of Roanoke,
Uh-huh.
which I worked with Danny Miller from Averitt,
Right.
Blair Trail from Roanoke, Jonathan Willis from Randolph.
Uh-huh.
So I'm starting to make those connections, but it's also good to see those kids there also too, because then you start to build connections with them at the camp, and then you can go to their high school and see them. So
Yeah.
we're definitely starting to build our name or get our name out there.
Good.
So
This weekend, we travel to Raleigh.
yes.
Yeah. And then we have a team that we beat
We
on
beat
our
them.
schedule, William
Oh,
Peace.
no, we did.
Right.
We took a set from them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
took a
Or
set
Mary
from-
Baldwin, I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
have Mary Baldwin next Tuesday, which will be our Dig Pink night.
Right,
But
good.
this weekend's big for us. Like
Good.
if we go in there and play well, I really think we'll come out. We could do well.
Yeah, so Dig Pink Night's a biggie. We want to get a
Yes.
big crowd.
Yes.
Touch on that real quick.
Dig
yeah.
Pink will be.
Gary's giving us the sign.
And Dig Pink will be the 29th, Tuesday the 29th, and it's a really big game. Come out and wear your pink. So
Yeah.
it's just a good thing to have going on.
Yeah, and you have a silent auction.
We will. We'll have
Yeah.
a silent auction.
Bring
and
your
some really
money.
cool gear.
Bring your
yes,
checkbook.
yes, and it all
Right.
goes out to the Side Out Foundation. So.
Side out.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Excellent. Wear your pink.
Yes, we're
And
pink.
black and gold.
Yeah.
They go.
Somehow we have black with pink on them. So.
Okay. Well, I want to talk just a second, give an announcement about the Blue Ridge Folk Life Festival being held on our campus Saturday. It's the biggest event of its kind in Virginia. We feature performers and artisans, foods, and the activities. It's not found at a typical craft shows, fairs, or festivals. The New York Times calls the Blue Ridge Folk Life Festival thoroughly authentic. Join us Saturday on the Ferrum campus for the Blue Ridge Folk Life Festival. Jess, I know you like it. And
Yes.
next week's guest will be Bill Tharp, and one of his ball players. And Coach Tharp is the head basketball coach. We're heading into basketball season. That's exciting. Lots of great, exciting things happening here at Ferrum College, and certainly the rise of our basketball or of our volleyball team is a big deal here. So until next Thursday, this is Dave Newcombe saying so long. I wasn't